Hello, and thank you for joining us here in the New Life series, the educational series with Rav Dr. Michael Laitman. Hello, Dr. Laitman. Hello, everyone. Hello, Nitza Mazuz. Hello. The Israeli society is our subject lately here in the studio, and you're welcome to join us. Today, we want to focus on a very specific aspect, the gaps, the economic gaps in society. We spoke in the previous talks that we want to build a new horizon for the Israeli society, a new vision, a life where we all become one big family. In this atmosphere that will create between us, I imagine I'll wake up in the morning happier, I'll live more security, I'll be happy my kids are growing up here and not somewhere else. And everything will be warmer, closer, more exciting, more interesting, more connected. And that's where we're all aspiring to in general. In our discussions about Israeli society, to imagine this vision where each time we want to flash our flashlight on a different sector, like today, the situation in Israel, through looking at a certain subject, we want to learn something about the big vision, to feel it, to grasp it better, so we'll be able to sense more what this new life is that we can create between us. So today we chose the social economic gaps in Israel. Nitza, can you take us into the discussion? When we remember what we had here a few years ago, I'm not talking about a few generations, I'm talking about my age when I was younger. Everything was open. Society was, not everyone had a lot, but we were all very happy and joyful, and everything was convenient and open. All the doors were open. We used to go from this neighbor to that neighbor. Even once a week, we had this tradition in the neighborhood that we open a table and everyone brings their stuff down and we eat together and we laugh. There was a feeling, a real family feeling, a very pleasant feeling. I think that today, if we look there, there's not one person that doesn't miss this place. And it doesn't matter what he achieved, where he is in life or economically. It's something that everyone would like to feel. Now, with time, things happened. We'll understand soon from you what happened exactly, but things happen, and gradually the society began to, gaps began to increase socially, economically. Gradually, there began to be distance between people. The connection that was warm before and secure and give people confidence, trust, started to be a situation where people can depend on one another. And we want to look at it, and just over the last few years in our small country, how did it happen that we went from being such a warm group of people, how gradually we got these gaps and we reached the place where we are today? First of all, the ego grew. When we're developing, we have to see the foundation. What's the first reason? And the first reason is the egoistic desire that's in us, the ego that's in us, that's always growing in quality and quantity. And we see that it's not just with us, but with the whole world. And when it grows, we're operated by it. It's not like I have some system to supervise it, how much it grew from yesterday to today, and then I'm like this, and in what manner, that, this or that, how I relate to all kinds of things. And I see the world in a different way today than yesterday because of this and that, because of the ego that increased. I'm not capable of that. And a person is not built like that. And that's the first reason. As a result of the ego growing, not only do we look differently at one another, like in the Tower of Babylon, we said that they suddenly started discovering that everyone's far from the other one. They don't want to connect to the others. They want to build a tower up to the sky and be proud, and the hatred was revealed. Maybe hatred is too far a word, but the distance. I don't feel like sitting next to you today. Yesterday there wasn't even a question like that, but rather it was pleasant and we did it. Today, to sit together, there has to be a reason, thoughts, who, what, where, with him, yes, with him, no. There's a million things. It's all signs that the ego has increased and is demanding from us. If we want to do something against the ego, then we have to justify it in a real way, that our ego will enjoy it somehow. I'm sitting with him today, this evening, to have some meal together with some neighbors. If tomorrow I will have some profit out of it, we'll maybe do a bit of business, something that it's worth it for me. If not, then no. Just for my mood, I don't feel like sitting there. I get a good mood according to my current ego. It's better at home with my big, huge TV screen. It's also according to my ego growing the TV screen. That's what's happening. So we need to understand that there's a problem here. First of all, the way I look at things is changing. The values are changing. First of all, I start checking what he has, that I don't have less than him or less than him, because otherwise I'm suffering. Again, my ego is directing me in such a way that I have to enjoy life. I enjoy life with my egoistic feeling that I have at least not less than him. I have to justify things, that I'm not less than others. And if possible, more than others. So I work more and I make more and I try harder. And then this competition starts. It didn't used to be like this. At the egoistic level, just like in animals, inanimate, animate. That's how our ego was. Everyone has, and I also have, and we don't need more than that. My father made sandals. I'll also make sandals. The main thing is that I have kids, I have a home, everything's fine. I'm set. Today, it's not like that. Today, if you're not advancing each day in life, it's as if you're inside something's on fire and not allowing you to enjoy life. So we need to give it do we need to give it an answer or not? And here is the point. Are we going after our ego? And then we're reaching very big development, technology, financial, and in every aspect of our lives. And then I reach a crisis. And also, we need to speak about the crisis. Is it a crisis that we're out of resources? Or no, we have everything. It's just the ego, again, going through some stage. I rise from a level of animate. I didn't want anything except just to exist, just like we used to be in Little Israel. Then I started growing, my ego, competition, everything. It happened for 50 years, and then boom, again. Suddenly I feel myself, what did I do? What for? Why am I satisfied? Am I not? Everyone's living much better than we used to live previously when we were all equal. In the value of life, quality of life, everyone has everything in abundance. Did anyone have refrigerators? Nobody knew what they were going to eat in 2 days. We have the pensions, health, banks, we have everything, Social Security. Person doesn't get lost. We built systems that are really incredible. But there's no satisfaction, there's no joy, there's no happiness. And this you can talk about at all levels and stages. Why do we have a feeling like this in us? Not because I'm truly missing something, but because my ego is now also going through an upgrade. In these 50 years that went by, now it's jumping up again. And what's it requiring of me? I still can't grasp, but I see that what there is, it won't help. Questions are about the inequality, about the lack of joy, lack of luck, being happy, being satisfied with life, the essence of life, all kinds of things, philosophical questions. Because if I didn't look at anyone, the most simplest person, he has, thank God, his own TV, food, his kids, go to some school. Those that don't go to very expensive activities after school and they don't go travel abroad twice a year, okay, fine. But altogether, compared to what there was 50 years ago, there's no question that everyone lives better than what we had in the past. So, we're missing inner filling, not external filling. We see that no matter how much we add to a person, he cannot be proud. That doesn't fill him. Our ego is changed in its nature, in its character, in its essence. A person is demanding more filling. I want to be happy. It's like sometimes every man may be more emphasized in women. I want to be happy. What do you want to be happy? I want to be happy. Kids also, it's men are more primitive, they're more simple. They have sports, they have something, they're happy. This type of emptiness is starting to become more and more revealed in the people, and especially in Israel, because here we're in very special conditions. There's no such thing in the world. A little country, pressure from all sides, is in wars, all kinds of challenges, politically, socially, the environment. So we here are really in like a nuclear plant. We need to understand that our ego is now demanding from us filling, not in money, not in respect, or not something material, but rather inner filling, inner satisfaction. It used to be culture. We used to be attracted to literature. We went through all these things. Today we can't even express the external things that will give us satisfaction, that will go abroad, that will go on a picnic, we'll go build another room, we'll do something. Our satisfaction remains emptier even than before. And when we research it, to give the correct answer to Israeli society, then we reach a state where where we need to treat the person himself. We don't have anything to give him. You want this toy, like a little spoiled child. Oh, take this doll, or maybe this one. No, no, no. And she doesn't know what she wants. Maybe because she has so many dolls, she doesn't know what she wants. But we've reached a state where it's not satisfying her. Therefore, we need to work with people, along with them, to verify, what do you want? What do you want? They go out to the streets, they're screaming like this, like that. They think that from screaming, they'll be better off. And I'm not saying that they have everything and conveniently and everything. But it's not the same place where they're screaming from. Because even if we raise them up, even if we take them up a few standards to some other standard of living, at that level, there's also people that say, we're not happy. And this is how it is in everything. The work here is with people. First of all, to verify what a person needs to be happy. Is it dependent on what we have materially? Or is our desire today not even expressing that? Because it used to be, I bought a car, I feel great. For a few months at least, I bought a home. First year, I feel amazing. I feel something else. A child is born in the family. There's joy, there's a mess and everything, but there's joy. Today, it's like, it's happening, but I've become, it's like not penetrating. Kids are getting married, okay, great, they're getting married and taking off. So what is a person asking for? Maybe he's become so clumsy that he can't fill himself, and all his screaming is just there's a helplessness, but don't look for filling. But if we're not looking for filling, then what are we going to do? Block ourselves up with all kinds of drugs and stuff. All kinds of pills, Prozac or something, which is very popular nowadays. According to our research, these things really cause very much great damage. And they give it to everyone. So again, verify these things with the public. This is what we have to do first, because we've reached a state that not that we'll provide them with work. First of all, you can't provide them with work. First of all, there's no work. In a few years, we're going to see how half of the world, even more, people that are used to going to work, they just won't go to work because there's nowhere to work. And if we open all the technological resources that we have to to upgrade the technology even more, nobody needs to work. 3% of Americans that work in agriculture provide food for all of America, and there's tremendous export. Agricultural export, 3%. In many, many countries, we even have the country pays the farmers that don't work so hard. We don't need so much produce. Just the opposite. Otherwise, we won't be able to maintain a certain level of the price. The price of what you're producing. We have a surplus of everything. Lack of joy, lack of filling. And this brings us back to a state where, if in the past we thought We were talking once about the Club of Rome. There were smart people like that 50 years ago that said soon all the Earth's resources will disappear, and all the metals and gas and oil, what will be and what will we do? Now we see that we transition to technologies where we were not so afraid of this. We don't even need the gas and oil soon. We'll be able to use the sun's energies and all kinds of other energies, wind, etc. We'll be able to supply ourselves with everything without nuclear reactors. It's a political game that's corrupting everything. Not agriculture, not food, not energy. It's mainly electricity and nothing. We can create a wonderful material life here on the planet for everyone. We have it, the ability. The problem is the distribution, because there has to be material distribution to give a body what it needs. Without that, you can't do anything. But the main thing is, along with that or after that, how we distribute the joy. Where do we take? From what well? From where do we bring joy to people? You mean happiness? With an A, happiness. That it's good for me, that it's worth it for me to live. Smiling. This is what we see. This is the most in-demand product in the world that is becoming truly a product in itself. And even though we wanted to do it with all kinds of things, radio, television, computers, 1,001 things, we're not succeeding. We see that the happiness itself is a feeling that has to be in the media. That has to be in everything we produce and culture, but it's not there. What we're doing, we're actually, from us missing this inner joy, the things we produce, it's also missing in there. And every year you have 300 or I don't know how many movies come out to the world with all kinds of series. There's nothing, no filling in them that a person can say, oh, I'm enjoying myself. No. What's left? And it's also becoming empty is sport. That's football, that's it. Part of humans are filling themselves with sports. From mondial to mondial. That's what they have. And they're holding on to it, and they pay a fortune for it, because at least in some manner you're holding on to the masses. Billions of people watch it. And therefore it's worth it, especially for leaders and everything. It's important to them to develop it. But also it's gradually starting to decrease. We're seeing all these Olympic Games, how everything is going, and it used to be the pride, the national pride. Now it's becoming worn out. It's all becoming blurry, the issue of pride. And to make a long story short, whichever way you look at it, that question, where do we bring happiness from in order to sell it? If I could put it in like a Coca-Cola bottle, how to sell it, I would I would be the wealthiest person in the world. There's no question. But how can we do it? And what would we fill it with? What things? It doesn't matter. The five senses, pictures, hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting with an infusion, doesn't matter what. A person comes like he fills his car. If I could give him a shot, but it's like drugs. There's no such thing in our world in a simple manner that's visible to the eye, a source of happiness, of filling ourselves with this hidden source. That's what I'm yearning for. My search, like a dog wandering the streets, and always sniffing where there's something. That's how I am in life. I'm always like a dog going and looking, where can I be happier? And in no place. And people are born like that today, truly from a very young age. They're very philosophical today. They see life in depth and until the end of life. And people are living too long. They're asking the doctors. I'm talking to doctors. I have lots of students that are doctors. They say, elderly people come and say, what do I need to live so long for? I want to go quietly. I've had enough. People feel that they're suffering. It didn't used to be a problem. Kids and grandchildren, you live in the family. Today you're alone. You don't have anything with that TV. You don't even turn it on. So it's people that don't even turn it on. There's nothing to see. What should I turn it on for? And there's nothing to enjoy, and there's an emptiness. And I'd rather die. Meaning we can conclude that we need to, first of all, understand that in the external manner, through happiness, richness doesn't bring us happiness. In Hebrew, it's the same word. But rather, happiness is a product. It's a divine product, I'd say. We say he's lucky that he's happy. It really comes from above. And a happy person, it's not important to him what economic level he is, but he's happy and filling with happiness is above all other fillings. If I'm happy with someone, then I can live with him in the forest and I don't care, I'm happy. If I'm not happy with someone, I can have a castle and everything, I'm suffering, I feel like I'm in prison, and etc., etc. So here we see that outside a person, there's nowhere to look for it, but only inside him. And how we awaken in a person this feeling, where can it come from? From the person himself, no. We see how much people have become more isolated. They become less happy. If there used to be a family, the whole gathering, grandparents, mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, and maybe also sheep and cows and chickens. It used to be life. And they used to live here and there, and nobody used to run anywhere. I knew I'd marry somebody who lives around here. And this, till the horizon, I have my entire life, and I don't need anything else. Today we've passed the horizon, we've gone out to the whole world, and we're coming back and we're seeing that I have nothing out of it. But rather a person actually inside himself is yearning for that same environment that's bringing him joy. He can't really stand it, truly. But actually, that same feeling he's yearning for, that happiness he gets a bit in that football field, sometimes in these events that we do together, maybe when we go out to the town square, there's a festival or something. It somehow fills us, but it's only for a few moments. So now if we want to talk about the solution, it's that we need to show a person that the source of joy, first of all, the joy that he's looking for, that he's demanding, is from the level, is from a non-individual level, but rather joy that needs to come from the human level, social level. And what's important here is to explain to him that we are always nurtured by the environment. And we were once nurtured by a small environment, house, the yard, the neighbors, like say in a little settlement. And then we disconnected from it and we went up a level. We wanted to get higher, each and everyone else. So where's the yard? Where's the neighbor? Where's the house? Screw everyone. I'm going to succeed in a completely different society where I can be an individualist. And then we all rised up higher, and we're at a certain level, certain height, culture, education, economy, distribution, personal distribution, everything changed a lot. Can I ask, in connection with this, you're saying that everything went up together. The ego went up and we all went up to some level to supply the ego. The ego went up like only for succeeding economically, only toward competition. So how did we get these gaps? But everyone with his own ego, how can it not be like that? First of all, I came from a little village. It's like 300,000 or 400,000 people from a little city in Russia. I was in touch with people from there not so long ago, and I heard from all those, out of all those thousands of people that I knew, I know lots of people, our family was very known in town. I knew lots of people there, lots of families. They got to that, they got to that. And if I made a graph, a chart, I would see that to what extent the ego in each person pushed him to which direction and in which way to express himself. And of course, everyone's different. I didn't research it, but I saw it. I had this picture, image in my mind. Some people went from the city out to the village. It's a city. It's about 500,000 people. Some of them went out to the boondocks. They went out there. My cousin, he married in Israel. No, he's still there. He got married there in Russia with a woman. They studied together education, and they went to be teachers in a school out in the village. And they live in a village with her, with the kids. They probably have cows and goats and chickens next to the house, and that's how he lives. He preferred living like that, and that's it. He has everything. The ego doesn't demand anything else, just that. If he feels happy, what's the difference between him and someone else? And I have some of them that became, they have $500 million and private planes and everything. Who's happier? I'm not sure. A feeling of joy, it's an inner feeling. And we all grew up together. So you can't say who grew up more and who grew up less. I'm asking because in connection with the Israeli society, when we look what happened, we see in the first years there were very big gaps. And then gradually they became smaller. And then 30 years ago, the Israeli society was considered an equal society without very big gaps. And actually in the last 30 years, suddenly there started to be these really big gaps in society. So there's like a process here from a situation where we weren't together, and then all of a sudden there's this distance. Up till 30 years ago, we were relatively a socialist society. Relatively. And ever since then, we began the capitalism between us, the competition, companies from abroad, and technology that developed gave part of the people that know how to learn and realize themselves. It gave them priority, and that's what happened. But it doesn't matter. It will always be like this. And it doesn't matter which society. The question is, today we're in a situation where, okay, we jumped up in our ego, but we've also reached we've reached a state where that joy that we had before is now required at a different level. That warmth, we don't have it. And we need to understand that altogether a person remains the same person. It's just chemistry. It's there's people with nerves inside. And what would be good for me is what was best for me. I was a baby on my mother. That's it. The best thing is to feel myself in a warm society, and that can't be replaced. And even though today we're very mixed up, and we can imagine these things, what, you're bringing us again to nursery school, to the playground, to play the sandbox. Our lives are truly that sandbox. But we ruined the sandbox to such an extent that we're not even enjoying this game anymore. And the competition we have, and these people that are running around the world doing business, that's also a game. This stock exchange, it's a game. It's just like Monopoly. It's the same Monopoly that we play. But we're not enjoying any of it because we're missing the connection, the warmth between people. And the fact that we're learning from life and the family, and also the family, we ruined everything. We even in the family, we don't have it. We have a baby, and after 2 months, they give it to someone to look after, and the mother has to run off has to rip the baby away from herself and run to work. So that's how it is in nature, and we still, no matter how much we are with our brains and so developed and everything's corrupt, we have to see this as the source of our happiness. So if we now will renew and awaken that same environment in another way, of course, in accordance with what we are, then in that we can bring joy back to people. And the people that are desiring this nowadays, and we can see from the statistics the suicides, depression, drug abuse, substance abuse, and divorce, and everything, and crime and terror. All these things are from lack of joy. So if we go to awaken these people, it's a tremendous force. The fact that politicians still don't get it, it's their problem. That even from the side of from the point of the ego, they need to learn how to attract people after them. To such an extent, this approach is different than our regular ego, that we don't use it, we don't play with it to attract audiences, people after us. And also, it won't succeed because there can't be a lie here. There has to be an approach, it has to be genuine from heart to heart, that we need to teach people to that same happiness that was created in the correct connection between people. That is the filling. That's the required feeling. That's what they are. That's what they will feel as happiness. And that is truly the currency, the most in-demand currency, that costs truly a lot of money, because we have the economy of happiness. It doesn't matter how much money you have, the feeling that you have a lot, not money, but the feeling that you have a lot. And then suddenly we start discovering people that feel they have a lot is actually in Africa, not in Europe and Russia and the States. Precisely in those places, there's pressure, there's fear that you'll get killed, that they'll do something to you, that tomorrow you won't be like today. And there, they feel free and happy. Relatively. They don't have more than a kilo of bananas a day, but it's enough. So we need to learn from that. That what we need is we need to learn the subject by ourselves and prepare the method of how to teach people to be happy. You mentioned bananas, so I have I brought a picture from the past. Our subject today are the economic social gaps in Israeli society, and it's described how over the last few dozen years the society has changed from a situation where there was nothing, and suddenly in the last 30 years there's very great gaps. We spoke about this, and I told Nitza that I grew up as a child in a house where my father was born here in Israel, and I didn't know what it was to be missing something. There's nothing in my impressions from life as a child in a family with 5 kids. My father was quite wealthy. There was no such thing as not being able to acquire something that I couldn't afford. It wasn't part of my reality. At the same time, in other places in Israel, other kids grew up in families where they lived on a completely different planet, where there the thought of you have everything that you need does not exist. It's a completely opposite picture. It's like we're both Israelis, We're both in the same country, and maybe our parents started from the same starting point. When my father started building himself, from his parents came up to Israel, he started from zero, and somebody else started from zero, but he stayed close to zero. My father succeeded to build something. Then the next generation came, which is me, and I live in a certain reality, and another person, like, say, my age, who has the same abilities and same talents as me, he lives in a completely different movie, a completely different reality that I can't even feel or sense. I know there's such a thing, but I don't really feel what it means to live like that. Now another generation has come, and now I have kids. And now I'm in a third state, not in the state that I don't know, that there's not nothing, and that I'm the classic middle class. We live in a minus like most of the country. I gave 3 different frequencies, different economic standards. What we're seeing is that these gaps keep growing and growing over the last few years. And this subject has come to the center of the public discourse. It's like where the Israeli society is looking in the mirror and asking, where have we gotten? Is this what was intended? This was the plan? It's a country that hasn't existed for so long. 65 years we're here. We have something, when we look at it, we say, this isn't what we intended. So why did I say the bananas? The kilo of bananas reminded me of something. I remember when I finished the army, and in typical Israeli style, I went abroad and I looked to my life. I could write on a paper, I could say how I'm going to go into university, I'm going to take on my father's office, I'll build a bigger house than his, I'll have nicer cars than him, and that's how I'll go on till the end of my life. And in advance I felt, this is great and I want all this, but if that's all there is to it, then it's nothing for me. I wanted to have in my life a kind of satisfaction, a stronger, more powerful satisfaction that can't be measured by the size of my house or how big my car is, the engine of my car is. And lots of people from my generation that I know and I feel them, they feel their life in the same frequency. It's not that we have. I don't have. If my father wouldn't help me economically, my situation would be very bad. I value all his achievements and everything that he built with his 2 hands. But the questions about the gaps in society, economic gaps, they're far beyond money. They're questions about what's the main thing and what's not the main thing. I want to have what he has, and I'm sorry that I live in a house and I don't have I live in an apartment, I don't have a house. I want to have a house, but a house on itself is not enough. And I think this is some emotional insight that's very much felt in our generation. Our parents achieved a lot and it's great, but if that's it, then it's too small for us. So the question is, where are we heading from here? We know the history. What you did, you made a decision. I'm not talking about me, that's not the discussion. I'm talking where are we headed when we're envisioning, but that's actually a typical case. That's exactly what I'm asking. You wanted to have a bit more than your father, a bit more home, a bit more this. But a bit more of that, it's not enough. I want a lot more, and not at all at those frequencies. I wanted a different quality of life. So now I'm asking, when we look at what happened here, the gaps, it's not for nothing that she described a picture that people used to sit together. They didn't have anything, but they were together. There was warmth, there was a connection. There was something between people. We can't have that today at all. We can't have that return today because you can't even want it. That's the question. If we look forward, where is Israeli society supposed to develop to from this point? We're so upset about the situation that we got to. This isn't what we dreamt of, this mood, this atmosphere, these gaps, the situation where today in Israel, it's not pleasant to say, but old people, at the end of the day, they go to the market in Ashdod and Haifa, and they have to collect vegetables. They'll die of starvation. My grandfather didn't die like that. He died in a nice environment. But today, other people are, how did a society reach such a state that's unbelievable? This isolation and this coldness. If you have, great. If you don't have, you can die. How did the frequencies between people reach a state like this? It's very simple. We live together, like you said, and we all used to look after one another. Even in, my mother came from Yemen. They had 12 kids. My grandfather was very wealthy, but when they came to Israel, they lost everything. There he had 12 kids. He came to Israel with nothing. And he adopted a child, 13 kids. Why? Because he was an orphan and didn't have parents. His parents died, and he joined the family. That's what I'm saying. We had nothing, but there was warmth. There was a connection at a very simple level. I don't want to insult anyone, but I would even say at the animal level, because it's like animals. We're humans, and for us it's different, but in a natural manner, let's say, from the nature that we were born with. The ego wasn't going so crazy at that time. It's the same in the world. Take Indians from South America who I visited. Really, it's the same thing as the farmers in Russia. It's the same thing. A person is a person in every place. He has family, he has a piece of ground, he makes a bit of money. He prepares things for the kids to be able to grow up. He releases them to life. That's the natural level that we exist at. We made an artificial jump, an egoistic jump, that wasn't until, say, 100, 150 years. Up until then, it wasn't burning with us. And in Israel, where did it happen? What point did it happen in Israel? This artificial jump happened because it's not according to the animal level. It's the human level of me. It's something additional. It's something additional. It's some type of desire that I want more than what my body needs. There was no such thing. I wanted it, so it was convenient. I had another room for another child, and also not. My teacher told me that when he got married, his wife's parents were very wealthy. They had an apartment with 2 rooms in Jerusalem. And when he got married, so he said, they didn't give us a room in their house. We would live in the same room as the parents, with her parents. And the next room, they used to rent out, not because they were missing any money. Her father was a big trader. Nobody felt that they needed to. There's room here. They put mattresses on the floor. They used to live like the Arabs. Today it's no longer relevant, but I'm explaining to you. It changes, but it used to change each time to a more convenient level. Okay, another room, a few more sheep. But here, there wasn't such competition. A person didn't have something burning inside that he needs to jump up to this height, that he has to acquire the whole world, that he has to go out to space. We suddenly got such desires that we didn't have before. And these desires are at the human level. They belong to the human level, not the animal level. Not that I want to be more convenient from my body. Nobody feels convenient. I get divorced. I'm not comfortable. I'm in conflict with other people around me. I want to put one over on everyone. It's not comfortable. I'm taking Prozac and cigarettes just to calm myself down because I'm always in competition. It's not comfortable, and I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, if the whole world will follow me. Nothing is convenient, but the ego is demanding it. The opposite of my body, it works, and there's nothing I can do against it. This jump that we got is a negative jump to a different level, to the speaking level. And now, at this new height, we need to again renew society, the connected society that's united, that's in some kind of mutual responsibility and friendship, new laws, not like we had before. It used to be family. Today it's like family. What's the difference? The difference is that today we can't even feel, even my parents that we're so connected to, even me with my kids of course don't feel. I don't even feel them. Today there's no families. Today we destroyed this entire foundation. Like I said, at the animal level, we rise to the human level, and now at this level we need to build a general common foundation that we are like a family. We're not a family. No one's close to anyone. He's more distance from his brothers than he is with me. That's how we feel today. All these natural things are gone. We rised up. It's like a mother cat meeting her son. After a few years, they don't feel that he even came out of her. There's no such thing. Family is it's not a blood connection, it's another connection. That's what you're saying, yes. Here between us, we have to build a new connection that will be like a family, and between everyone, because everyone is distant from everyone. That's the source of happiness. And then we won't feel the gaps. The gaps will remain. Yes, because we don't need to work on that. But from us operating this family feeling, we'll begin, along with the gaps, we'll begin to organize things so that everyone will have what they need. There won't be really needy people. I see his son is very special in music, so I'll help him. Not me precisely, but we'll help. He said he had an ability with his father to learn, an accountant, and his neighbor didn't have this ability to learn. So we're like a family, so of course we'll help. Like his parents took someone into the family, they took 13th person into the family, 13th child. That's how we need to think about everyone. But not because we're doing it by command, forcibly, from now on. We have to bring in this family feeling, and this feeling itself will arrange everything else between us. Because I won't feel behind this feeling. I won't feel that. I won't feel good if I see someone who's in trouble, because he's close to me. But to develop this closeness to one another, this is the problem. And this is what we need to work on. This is how we solve all our problems. There's only education. There's nothing that's not dependent on us. We can reach success, and this is how we solve all the problems, truly. The crisis, everything. It all depends on returning to family, one family. And in Israel, if we're talking about it already, there's a lot of preparations for this. There's a lot of abilities, inclinations toward this that we can use to precisely because of these conditions, we can use to realize this plan. We are one family. Our time is up. Thank you very much, Rav Laitman. Thank you, Nitza Mazuz. Thank you for being with us today. Let's think about it together. Let's think about it. We're all one family. New life. All the best.